I feel the spirit moving in me. I feel the spirit moving in me.
Have you ever found yourself suffering because you had to deal with a difficult situation or personality? I think that we all have time to time with that, right? Well, as you know, Nelson Mandela was a South African anti-apartheid revolutionary who, despite facing immense hardships and challenging and suffering, emerged from all of that as a global symbol of peace, resilience, and forgiveness. He spent 27 years in prison. Can you imagine? 27 years away from his family, away from his friends. And during that time, he endured physical pain, emotional suffering, and disconnected from the world and the country that he loved. You know, a lot of people might be broken in such a situation, but he was able to take that pain, and that hurt, and that challenge, and turn it around and take a different path. Instead of trying to escape the reality or succumbing to hopelessness, Mandela embraced his suffering and used his time in prison to cultivate inner strength and wisdom. He wrote, "I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers over fear." Wow. You know, in researching this talk, and I really am talking about Pema Chödrön, and I'll tell you more about her in a moment, but so much of what came through all of this was that the possibility that we have and how strong we can become when we face the things that challenge us. You know, in Pema Chödrön's book, The Wisdom of No Escape, she talks about a process that we're going to get into today and talk about today. And it's really about facing our challenges head on instead of trying to avoid them and run away from them. And to see them as opportunities for spiritual growth. Haven't you seen that before? Don't you know that it is the challenges that you face, I face, we face, that help us to be stronger, right? So today we're going to look at Pema Chödrön's insights into transforming suffering into wisdom and peace. And what really came up for me in writing this talk is the idea that what's in the way is the way. Right? The very challenges we have, the things that slow us down, the things that distract us or can seem painful or that we want to run away from are the things that we get to work with to advance on our spiritual journey. What's in the way is the way. Say it with me. What's in the way is the way. Pema Chödrön is a highly respected Buddhist nun. How many people know about Pema? I've read some of her work. Oh, a lot of us. And she's known for her practical and compassionate way of translating and expressing the understanding in deep Buddhist principles. And she was born as Deidre Bloomfield Brown in 1936. I didn't know that. And she began her spiritual journey after spending time as a school teacher, like some of us in this room. And being a school teacher and having the disillusion of her marriage motivated her to pursue Tibetan Buddhism. And in 1981, Pema became the first American woman to be ordained in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. Wow. She's a notable figure in the field of Buddhism, particularly in the West, because she's able to break it down so that we get it, right? So that we understand it, so that we can apply it to our lives. And that's really why I love Tibetan Buddhism, right? Because it takes spiritual principles, psychological principles, wisdom principles, and they're given to us in such a way that we can use them in our lives to become more centered in the truth and the essence of who we are. Yeah. And isn't that the journey that we're on? You know, is to, how can we do that? Right? I know I'm here because of this reason, wanting to connect with my highest possibility, my highest beingness. Aren't you? Right? So, and why? I think it's because we want to be happy, right? We want to be fulfilled. We want to be loving. We want to be passionate. We want to be compassionate. So let's just breathe into this. Pema's book that I'm taking this talk from is titled The Wisdom of No Escape. Now this is kind of an interesting topic, the wisdom of no escape. Where is it? Is that Pema talks about the idea of escape is an illusion, right? She's talking that when we try to escape the present moment, we aren't able to be present to the truth of who we are, right? That our spiritual essence comes from being present right here, right now, dealing with whatever it is. And so, we can sometimes think, and maybe you've experienced it yourself, where you said, oh, I'm not going to deal with this, right? Forget this. I'm not willing to deal with this difficult person or this challenging situation, and we run away from it. Ever happened to anybody? I see a lot of heads going, oh, yeah. And so in a moment, I'll have you come up and you can tell us the specific examples that you have. No, maybe I'll wait and just put that on Facebook later. But, we can have a tendency to try and push things away. So Pema says that we suffer because we attempt to avoid discomfort and seek pleasure. We attempt to avoid discomfort and seek pleasure. Anybody? Right? We'd rather have fun, wouldn't we? We'd rather have things be easy and pleasurable, wouldn't we? But admittedly, our time in these bodies on this planet sometimes brings situations to us that we get to change our perspective on and deal with the challenges so we can experience the fullness of life. And we also suffer because we attempt to escape the present moment. And how do we do that? Well, we worry about what happened yesterday. We kick ourselves for what we said or what we did or the hurt that we experienced yesterday. Maybe we didn't perform in the debate as much as we would like to. So we kick ourselves for it, right? and we get upset with ourselves, or we get anxious about the future, right? And we worry, oh, tomorrow I have to do this, and the next day I have to do this, and oh, woe is me, it's going to be so hard, right? Anybody ever feel that way, right? Because we're not willing to be in the present moment. And Pema Chödrön says, be there. Experience it. Be in the present moment. I know as a child, I was discouraged from getting angry. I was discouraged from getting mad. I was discouraged from being sad. I was discouraged for not being manly enough, right? And so our society feeds us all this stuff that keeps us from being present. When the truth of it is, sadness or anger or happiness or love or guilt, these are all things that we need to feel, because these are the very keys that open the door to our consciousness. And the third reason that we suffer is because we try to resist what is. You ever say, damn, I wish this wasn't happening? Or why is this happening to me? Right? And we try and push it away. We try and push the challenging feelings, the emotions, or the painful experiences. We try and push them away instead of just being present to them. Oh, this is what is. Isn't that interesting? What can I do? How can I be in the moment, in this difficult situation, to show up, be present, and respond in love? Isn't that really why we're here? And don't you know that? Anybody? Okay. Scared. I thought maybe I put you all asleep. You know, because sometimes when we're talking about stuff that's tough, we check out. So instead of checking out, check in. Be present. Be here now. As Ram Dass would say, be here now. Be here now. Take whatever is given and do what you will with it. But I just invite you to listen and don't push it away. So we suffer because we resist what is. And you might say, well, what's the problem with that? The problem is, if we push away what is in front of us, it keeps us from healing, right? It keeps us from finding peace. Because believe me, what we push away today is going to come back and do what? It's going to come back and bite us tomorrow. So the lesson is just be with what is right now. Because what's in the way is the way. What's in the way is the way. You know, the path to peace and happiness lies in embracing the challenges in the present moment, just as they are, without judgment or resistance. So take a breath with me on that. Let that kind of settle down to recognize that the path to peace and happiness is embracing what is right here, right now, wherever you are. And you know, this goes back to Pema Chödrön's main teachings, which are about embracing the challenges, being mindful. And isn't this so much of what we're trying to do, is to be so mindful that we're present in every moment to what is. And to be free of the illusion of escape. And to realize there is no escape. There's only right now. So I want to tell you a story that I call the Dalai Lama's pajamas. And I don't know if the Dalai Lama wears pajamas. Have you ever thought about that? I'd love to ask him. I don't know what I would do with that information. But this is what I call this story. You know, 15 years ago or so, I was in a Unity church in St. Louis. And I found myself in a challenging situation with a music director. Now, he had been there many years before me and had quite a history in the St. Louis area. In fact, he had a doctorate in music, right? And he was an amazing piano player, organ player. And when the first time I met with him, I said, I'm going to call him Lewis. I said, Lewis, this Sunday my talk is about this, and I'd really like for you to come up with some music that fits the theme of my talk. And he's like, well, I'm not sure I can do that. And I'm like, my God, with your expertise and all you know, and he knew every song and Wings of Song songbook back and forth. And I said, well, I really want you to do this. And I'm speaking to you as the minister of this church. And he said, well, that doesn't mean anything to me. I have been the music director for 15 years before you got here, and I'm not about to do what you say or what you want. And and I'm standing toe to toe with this guy in my office on the first day that I'm in this ministry. And I'm like, holy moly. So this continued, and it bled itself into the services because it couldn't capture the feeling that I wanted in the service, that my board wanted in the service. So on the board and I talked about it, this situation for months, because this guy was loved, really loved by a few people. And there were other people in the congregation clamoring and saying, we want modern music, right? There's so much out there that speaks to our message, and that's what we want. So we debated at length and decided that we had to let this guy go. The most difficult decision I've made in my 23 years in ministry. And it wasn't just my decision. The board agreed. We realized that what he wanted didn't fit the mission and the vision of the ministry that we wanted to create. And we knew by letting him go, we were going to disappoint a group of people who had been there a long time. So we felt all that we could feel, the anger, the disappointment, the fear. And we spent time together just hearing each other, talking to each other, feeling compassion for each other, knowing that what we had to do was going to have a ripple effect on our ministry. That at that time was about 150 people on Sunday. And we knew, trusting the principles that we have, that making this change was going to attract something bigger to us, right? Because sometimes we have to face the obstacles in front of us and let go of the things that aren't working, right? So that we can embrace the fullness of spirit that wants to be expressed as us. People are falling over in their chairs. So we let him go. And it caused some disruption. People were discouraged, and we met with the whole congregation and told them why we made the decision we made. And a year later, we looked back and said, look what we created. Look at what we have. We have this amazing assortment of people like my friend Brian Clark, who are coming and playing on Sunday and singing music, playing music that resonates with our soul. Wow. So how do we transform suffering into wisdom? The first thing we do is to see the challenges that are before us as opportunities for growth and wisdom. Right? To recognize that when we get through this challenge, when you get through this challenge, you will be stronger. Right? You will be able to grasp that growth and be a more powerful spiritual individual. And the way that we do that is to have compassion for ourselves, to develop that compassion for yourself in the midst of the challenges, much like my board and I did, that we sat and felt the hurt. We cried together. We felt the fear that could arise. And it's just about embracing all of the feelings. These feelings that we have are there to be experienced. And then the third thing we can do is to find meaning and purpose in difficult experiences. To know, to know that being connected to spirit, being connected to our hearts, being connected to our love, being connected to our passion, being connected to our purpose and our mission gives us the power and the strength to do the things that sometimes seem like they're going to be hard to do. And it's something that I noticed that was interesting with this board was once we decided and got clear and connected with spirit, it was like the obstacles just fell away. It was like we got so empowered and connected and focused, and we knew there was no turning back. So we want to see the challenges that we have in our lives as opportunities for growth and learning. To be compassionate with ourselves, even now. I know that some of you may face in this next week because we've lit a light in you today, that some things are going to come up for you. And I invite you just to have compassion for yourself, to feel whatever that is that you're feeling. Just be with it, to love yourself, have compassion for yourself. And then to do what you get to do from a place of focus, from a place of purpose, from a place of love, from a place of being the fullness of who you are. I think that Viktor Frankl, the renowned psychologist and Holocaust survivor, is a powerful example of someone who transformed suffering into wisdom. In his book, Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl writes, or he describes, he wrote it, but I don't have the quote, but I know what he said. He says, he describes his experiences in the Nazi concentration camps and how he found purpose and meaning in the midst of it, in the unimaginable horror, despite losing his family. Can you imagine? And enduring incredible hardship, he maintained that one thing that cannot be taken away from us, and that's our ability to choose our attitude in any given situation. Our ability to choose to face the challenges that we have. Our ability to have compassion for ourselves when things are difficult. And the ability to be focused on our vision, on our mission, on our calling, as it may. And Frankl observed that those who were able to find meaning and purpose in their suffering, such as the people who were helping other people and held a vision themselves for the future, were the ones that were most likely to survive the camp. Frankl's story, his teachings, demonstrate the incredible resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of finding meaning in the challenges. As Pema Chödrön teaches, when we stop resisting our pain and instead use it as a catalyst for growth and awakening, we open ourselves for our highest potential, even in what seems like the darkest of times. Because the truth is, what's in the way is the way. So, as we come to the end, I invite you to take these lessons, this teaching, this idea of Pema's, and to apply it to your life, to spend some time in contemplation, and to really ask yourself, what is it that I'm avoiding? What is it that's a challenge for me that I can embrace so I can become the fullest human being, spiritual being that I can? Because your job is huge. My job is huge. Our job is huge. I believe that the work that we do is having an effect on the consciousness of Maui, the consciousness in Hawaii, the consciousness in the world. So I invite you to open your heart. Face your challenges with love. Have compassion for yourself. And follow your purpose. And be the light of the world. And just in case you forgot what we're talking about, let's say the affirmation one more time. Together, I embrace my challenges and positively transform my life. I invite you to close your eyes. Breathing in, breathing out. And just to imagine right in this moment that the presence of Spirit is you. You are a perfect expression of the divine. You are your highest possibility. You are the love and light that is moving through and onto and around and in our planet right now. And imagine that there's a golden light shining on you. And as you breathe into this light, every thought, every feeling, every cell, every space is embraced by this light. The light of truth. The light of potential. The light of possibility. The light of love. And just imagine that right now, that you decide in this moment that you will face the challenges in your life as opportunities to shine your light. Feel that. Feel how that feels. Feel the strength in that, the power in that, the love in that. You are a divine being. Feel that. Know that. And in the process, have compassion for yourself. Love yourself. Hold yourself. Tell yourself how strong you are, how loving you are, how powerful you are. Even in the fear, even in the doubt. Knowing that you will move through these feelings with love. And in the same way, live your purpose. Be that perfect expression of spirit. Call it God, call it universe, call it love, call it joy, call it Christ, call it Buddha, call it peace. And breathe into that. Let's hold this thought for a few moments. Breathing in and breathing out. Gently allow your awareness to return to this moment, to open your eyes and see the love that you get to be, the light that you are. And so it is. Namaste. Well, at this time I invite you to prepare your love offerings. And as you hold your gifts, I invite you to be in a place of gratitude. Gratitude for who you are. Gratitude for all that you have. Gratitude for just this amazing life that you have. For the body, the mind, the spirit, the essence of God that you are, of light that you are. And breathe into that. And we too are grateful for the gifts that you share with us, because these gifts provide the green energy that allows us to keep doing what we are doing. So thank you for giving. I know that as you give, you participate in the vision and the mission of this ministry. And I know that you are making a positive difference in the world. Thank you. So as we hold our gifts, let's pray and affirm together our affirmation for prosperity, which begins, through a grateful, giving heart, my mind and life overflow with the abundance of God's all-providing, infinite supply. And so it is. And Marianne had strep throat last week. How do you do that?
I accepted the challenge. And I took very, very good personal care of myself. And I was in the strep throat, and I decided to let it run its course. And here I am.
Oh, loving Spirit, thank you for these gifts that have come to us in love. We hold them, we bless them, we give thanks for them, knowing that they are moving through this ministry across this island and this state. And we behold a world that's filled with love, with light, with joy, and with peace. And so it is. Namaste. All right. Oh, we're going to start off our announcement time today with Mike reading us a poem. Come on up, Mike. Let's give Mike a hand.
Aloha. If you're looking for a father, don't bother. If you're looking for a preacher, he's not that kind of creature. He's more like a teacher. If you're looking for a lecture, it's all just conjecture. If you're looking for a sermon, I wouldn't be so sure, Mon. If you're looking for a saint, this is something he ain't. If you don't believe me, just ask Emily. If you're looking for a worship warrior, let's just say he does his best and leaves the rest to all of us. It takes him a week to figure out what he's going to speak. Polished it is not, more like on the fly. His humor abounds. He's just that kind of guy. Don't think he's a jerk because he gives you homework. For what he has to say will not go away. Something for you to keep day by day. An experience you will get for your mind, heart, and soul. Please share it with everyone you know. He walks his talk tried and true so that we can too. Thank you very much for what you say and do. And look around and remember this. If you don't know how much you're loved, you only have yourself to blame. Happy birthday.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Mike. I was warned that it would be a leaker, and it is a leaker. Thank you. Please send me a copy of that. Wow.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Blaine. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, he's trying again. That weeper of a minister.
He's a keeper.
At least he ain't a sleeper. Oh, thank you guys. I love you all so much. Thank you for allowing me to feel at home.
You are home.
Thank you. Whew. All right then. Well, we're blessed today. We have Flowers by Joy. And did you have something you want to dedicate the flowers to, Joy?
My 98-year-old friend Jean.
Whoa, your 90-year-old friend Jean. Wow, watch out because here we come. and there's an amazing story about this bouquet here. They're donated by a woman named Ruby Ray, who watches us online. Right. And hi, Ruby. and so she contacted us and said she wanted to donate flowers, and we asked her, how would you like them donated? And this is what she said. These flowers are an honor to the scared and scarred person I was 20 years ago, who followed that tiny light of promise for a better life. Wow. Wow. Ruby Ray, thank you. You know, and it just goes to show you and remind me of the powerful transforming power of these principles that we teach, right? To be like her, to find her true self. And aren't we on the same journey to find our true selves? And thank you for being here and committing your life, I believe, your time, your energy to being the fullness that you are. Thank you. And if you'd like to bring flowers on Sunday morning, there's a sign-up sheet in the back, and it's well scribbled on. Somebody found it and scribbled all over it. So it's just kind of a fun thing. You can sign up to bring flowers, and I'll be happy to announce the dedication of your flowers and celebrate you as well. So let's see. Oh, and my walk your talk for this week, if you're inspired by my message and you hope that you show up on my Blaine cam that shows you diligently practicing these principles at home, because I'm watching over you all the time. Don't I wish I had that kind of power?
You do.
No. Actually, probably not. There's the walk your talks in the back, and it's a 2-pager. And I am so excited. Kathleen, who was here earlier, she has to leave because Coco works. If you're wondering why they scoot out after the message, because she's getting taking Coco home to prepare her to work at the airport in TSA. But Kathleen said to me a few weeks ago, she says, I was in the midst of a talk on spiritual teachers, and she said, you talk so much about men, why don't you talk about some women? And I'm like, oh, that's a great idea, right? So I took her advice, and I'm doing this series on women of wisdom. And so, you know, and just on the side, if you ever have an idea, you know, I'm always looking for something to talk about. So if something strikes you and you say, gosh, I wish the Rev would talk about this, let me know what it is. And I have passion in doing that. So next week, we're talking about this woman that I didn't know before until I kind of reached out there and to the universe and said, okay, who is somebody that I can talk about that I know nothing about, that I can find some truth in her teachings and share it with you. And I discovered this woman, Ilia Dillo. She's a renowned theologian and scientist. And my mind went, whoa! And she explores the powerful connection between technology and spirituality. And I thought, wow, I'm curious about that. So I hope you are too. And so I'm going to be researching that this week and thinking about it, praying about it, talking about it, because technology is huge right now. And so I'm going to follow her work, follow her lead, follow her inspiration, and bring to you some of the things that strike me. So join us right here next week at 10 o'clock. And we'll explore harmony in the digital age, integrating technology and spirituality. And here's my flyer. There it is. So I'm really excited about that. That will be lots of fun. Okay, well, I think we've come to the end of this round. Unless you want to start over and do it all again? Yeah. I'm hearing the stomachs growl, so I guess that means we better bring this show to an end. Thank you for being here. I love you. And let's stand and pray the prayer for protection together. And then we'll join together as a circle and sing our outgoing song, the Swan Song. So for ourselves, for our life, for this ministry, And for you, let's pray together the prayer for protection, which begins, the
light of God surrounds us.
The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. I missed something over here. I'm going to find out what that was.
Where I live, there are rain.